It's like Jerry Rosberg just said, always been about the players and it always will be about the players. And we just added 2 great players, and not just 2 great players, but 2 great people that fit the Ravens. We feel like they're Ravens already. We feel like they've always been Ravens. And then beyond that, family. This is great. I mean, look at this front row right here, right? This is what it's all about. This is what we're built on. This is what we believe in.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Mobtown Blitz podcast. I'm your host, Kyle J. Andrews, and you can follow me on Twitter at Kyle J. Andrews _. And then I also have my co-host, Anthony Barkley.
What up, what up, what up?
Anthony, where can we find you at?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Barkley, AYEEBARKLEY.
We're down one Eric today, but it's always still going to be a good show. And as always, we are proud to do this podcast for one of the top sports websites in the district, dmvsportsnetwork.com. And they can be followed on Twitter and Instagram at DMV_SN. They have some great daily content on all things DC and Baltimore sports, in addition to college sports and a lot more, so that after you listen to this podcast, go ahead and check it out. In addition, please be sure to subscribe to our show and wherever podcasts are available, and that includes Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and SoundCloud. Without further ado, let's get into it. So, it's been a lot of stuff going on with the Ravens.
Good Lord.
I mean, a lot of stuff going on with the Ravens. We all knew this was going to come, some of it. We didn't know all of it was going to come. I mean, you guys wanted C.J. Mosley back. I said that was a possibility that he might not be back, but at the same time, I felt like that was just something that, it was a possibility at all times, but we didn't know if it was actually going to happen. What are your thoughts on C.J. Mosley departing to the Jets?
All right, so the way I found out about C.J. leaving was the funniest thing ever. So I'm sitting here in my apartment taking a nap, and everything's going on in free agency and stuff. And my homegirl, Kelsey, sends me a Snapchat. Shout out to the homie Kelsey. I told her I'd shout her out. And she sends me a Snapchat and goes, C.J. Mosley's canceled. What the heck? And I was like, why is C.J. canceled? And then so I had to go on Twitter and find out that C.J. signed with the Jets.
Same thing.
Same thing. And I was just like, the Jets, like that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Like that, no way do I see them competing for a Super Bowl. I don't even see them competing for the playoffs anytime soon. But the Jets did do a hell of a job in free agency, though, nabbing some pretty interesting people.
Yeah, I mean, and the crazy part is that they were that close to getting Anthony Barr, too. And imagine if they had C.J. Mosley and Anthony Barr. Now, that's a very good Jets defense right up the middle. But then we're even talking about some of the other guys that the Ravens lost. I know that we talked a little bit about Zadarius Smith possibly leaving. He did leave. Not surprising there. Yeah. I knew that he was going to get paid. You knew that he was going to get paid. Eric knew it was going to get paid.
Thing.
Right, exactly. And so I'm not entirely surprised by that one. He deserved what he got, I feel like.
Hopefully he plays up to his contract, though.
Yeah. And, I mean, we'll see what happens. But when it comes to Terrell Suggs now, that's the one that I think everybody wants to talk about, especially since Terrell Suggs spent 16 seasons with the Ravens. I mean, we saw some of the comments that he made on Undisputed, on Fox Sports 1's Undisputed. Mm-hmm. We saw some of the comments that he made on First Take. He said that the reason why he left the Ravens was because he felt like some new guys, it was their time to shine. He felt like him and Ozzie Newsome were
with the new.
Right. He was part of the Ozzie Newsome regime. So he felt like, at that point, maybe he had to make some changes himself and he decided, okay, I'm going back home to play with the Arizona Cardinals. What do you think about what he said? And do you buy all that?
The thing that really kind of got to me was when Skip Bayless asked him, does he see Lamar Jackson winning Super Bowls for Baltimore? And he said, well, he kind of hesitated. Then he was just like, not as long as I'm playing, because, I want to be in contention, which he's playing for the Cardinals. So let's be realistic. It's a no. No, they're not doing anything. Sorry, Sizzle. As much as you want to be the rah-rah guy in the locker room, no, it ain't happening, Chief. It's just gonna be weird, seeing them with the Cardinals hat on, seeing them, I do appreciate the thing that he did say though was he was leaving behind the number 55 here, so he wasn't gonna wear 55 in Arizona, also because
Chandler
Jones wears 55, but I don't know if that's because of that or because he just wanted to leave, number 55 behind, and that's gonna be weird too. That's gonna be more weird seeing him in a different number than, I just don't know what to make of it. I mean, from a cap space, I kind of see why the Ravens didn't re-sign him or why they didn't offer to re-sign him. It makes sense financially from a leadership point. It just left a big vacant hole. And I remember going to the gym and the guy at the gym was just like, who's going to lead y'all locker room? And I was like, dang, I didn't even think about that because, we already lost Eric Weddle, we lost Sizzle, we lost Mosley, and it's just like, where the Ravens defense going to go? Is Jimmy Smith going to step up and be the guy? But then, Eric DeCosta said, I got this.
No, so it was interesting about all those different things, like who's going to step up on a defense. Even Terrell Suggs said it himself. He believes that, this is from Undisputed, not First Take, but he said that he feels like the leadership lies within Brandon Williams, Michael Pierce, Tony Jefferson, and his personal favorite, Matt Judon. Now, I know from like the personal experience that I had in the locker room with those two, they were inseparable, him and Matt Judon. And I feel like they played that, outside linebacker position with a lot of passion. The two guys that Matt Judon learned a lot of things from Terrell Suggs. And I feel like he had a different path than Suggs did. But at the same time, he's learned that work ethic that Suggs had. He took that as a 5th round pick at Matt Judon, and he worked his butt off even further playing at Grand Valley State. And I think that when you got a guy that's going to hustle for that, and I know that Matt Judon isn't that, he's sometimes, you'll see some of the plays that he makes, you're like, man, that guy is great. Now, other times you'll see some of the plays and you'll be like, where did Matt Judon go?
That was him that had the sack and ran up the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had 3 sacks. 3 sacks.
Consecutive sacks, and it just like ran up the tunnel. I was like, oh, I didn't know it was 3rd down.
Right. And it's crazy because him and Zadarius Smith kind of like, Zadarius Smith did different things than Matt Judon did. Zadarius Smith was more or less like the replacement for Courtney Upshaw.
Mm.
And Zadarius Smith was way better than Courtney Upshaw. Let's get that.
Oh God,
by far. And he actually got to the quarterback. So I'm thinking right now, maybe the Ravens are thinking in the draft, hey, maybe let's get that mid-round defensive end / outside linebacker that can do those same things that Matt Judon and Terrell Suggs and Zadarius Smith all did. Now, who that guy is, me personally, I think Sharif Miller is going to be around in the 4th or 5th round. Penn State guy. I talked a little bit about him on offside position, other podcasts I do. But I think that Sharif Miller
flex over there.
I mean, but still, like, honestly, Sharif Miller, I think, is the perfect fit for this Ravens team because guess what? You could get him in a later round. He is a high motor guy. He's going to work hard, but he also has that ability to be molded into something better. He's not a finished product. That's fine. but he's also 6'5" and 260 pounds. I mean, he's already taller and longer than some of these guys that they drafted in the past. He's taller and longer than, Matt Judon. He's taller and longer than Zadarius Smith. Zadarius Smith was 6'4". Matt Judon 6'3". Both of these guys, very good players. They would hammer people away. But that length that Sharif Miller has, I mean, you can't teach that kind of length and arm. Like, his hands are long. I mean, his hands are big and his arms are long. So, I mean, he can get that separation that I'm like, man, Ravens really need to get him. I like what Adam Bonacorsi from Russell Street Report said about, he had a mock draft. That's my boy, too. I love Adam. Adam does a really good job over at Russell Street. So if you guys ever look at his stuff, check that out. We also do a really good job at Baltimore Beatdown, but, got to share the love every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
But Adam said that the Ravens should go with Sharif Miller. And I'm like, man, that is a very intelligent pick on their part if they do decide to go to that. Now, whether they do or not, we'll see. I mean, what are your thoughts on the Ravens possibly getting a mid-round defensive end / outside linebacker like they had in the past?
I mean, I'm okay with it, but then let's also, try to focus on the guys that we have in-house. I appreciate the draft process. Obviously, that's where the new crop of talent comes in, but let's really focus on who we have in-house right now. And I'm looking at you, Tyus Bowser. I'm looking at you, Tim Williams. Two guys that I think on the outside need to step up. Tyus Bowser has shown flashes that he can get to the quarterback. He does have a couple sacks. I haven't seen dilly squat from Tim Williams, and I think this is a make or break year for him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just one of those situations where with Tim Williams, I think if he doesn't make up for like some of the issues that he had in the past, I mean, and get healthy, then it's going to be an issue. I mean, it's not necessarily that I think he's not a good player. I just think he's been banged up so much that he hasn't really been able to show what he's got. And I think Tyus Bowser's made too many mistakes on like special teams and some of the other things that, you need to earn your stripes before you're going to get that playing time.
Right.
And he hasn't shown that ability yet. That I'm like, man, are they really going to do something with that? I mean, he could prove to be in the future a player that has that talent. I think he's shown flashes in the past, but I'm just like, it's crunch time right now.
I think the kid LJ Collier out of TCU, that'd be a really good 4th round draft pick if he falls down that far. As someone who I really like as a outside defensive end, possibly outside linebacker. I'm not really sure if he's inside or outside or not, but LJ Collier out of TCU, I feel like I'm butchering this man's name, but whatever, kid was shouting you out. Someone who I feel like can get to the quarterback, and he could probably be a really good pass rusher.
You're correct. This LJ Collier.
Okay. All right. Shout out to LJ Collier.
Lawrence Collier Jr., so LJ Collier. That's his nickname, but I mean, yeah, I also think he's a really solid player that can fit in pretty well with the Ravens. I mean, now since they got we took forever to talk about this, but we didn't talk about the free agent signings that they made yet. And they also have more news today. Robert Griffin III re-signed as the backup. And I think that's a very smart move. That's an intelligent move.
Very smart move by DeCosta.
I mean, he fits perfectly into this offense as the backup. He follows the Lamar Jackson. Well, I mean, I guess Lamar Jackson follows him as the, athletic quarterback that can do all these different things with his running ability.
Same pedigree, 2 Heisman Trophy winners, 2 first-round draft picks. Now Lamar was the 32nd. RG3 was the 2nd. But, they still both know what it's like to be drafted in the first round. They still both know what it's like to win the Heisman Trophy. They played at big-time schools and really didn't amass too much at either school. I don't really think Baylor was I think Baylor was in a national championship run while RG3 was at Baylor, and Lamar didn't sniff a playoff while he was at Louisville. So to have that, to have that leadership and that veteran presence in a locker room would be really good for Lamar, so he won't drive down the highway doing 110 without a seatbelt on. But I mean, it happens. The kid's 22. We all did stupid stuff when we were 22 years old, but we also weren't the franchise quarterback of an NFL team, so there wasn't that much expectation on us. Lamar is going to have his growing pains, and I think the Ravens, fans need to be a little bit patient with him coming to year two. Hopefully, he's working on his mechanics, he's working on his throwing, and working on his accuracy. And I feel like, if he really puts in that work with RG3, then there's no telling what can happen for this kid.
And the crazy part is we're still just building up to some of the other moves that they made.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's get to Justin Bethel, because I feel like that's the third most important move that they made.
That was a very intriguing move.
I liked it.
I mean, I like it. I understand it. He really values the work on special teams, and when your head coach was a former special teams coach, it makes a lot of sense. I think does it raise questions about Jimmy Smith or any other?
I don't think it does.
We have.
I just think it's an addition,
Oh, okay.
And I mean, like, the biggest thing is they added. I mean, they still had Brandon Carr back.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Smith's back.
Mm-hmm.
Marlon Humphrey's back. So that's three good guys. Then you got Anthony Averett, Tavon Young, obviously.
Yeah.
That's five really good corners. Cyrus Jones is a cornerback. We always forget that.
Yeah.
And then now Justin Bethel's a cornerback, but he plays special teams. They're signing these guys.
That's seven defensive backs right there.
Seven corners.
Seven corners.
But a lot of these guys, I think at this point you could use. I was thinking this before, and I think this is a really crazy thought, but maybe you can use Cyrus Jones just as an athlete now. Just give him the ball in open space, use him as an athlete, and try to make him he doesn't necessarily have to play cornerback anymore, but you could put him in an open space like he was in high school and was in college initially. Because as people forget,
I don't remember him playing too much corner when he was at Alabama.
Yeah, when he was at Alabama, he was just mainly a kick return guy. Yeah. But I think that when he was a freshman, he was a receiver. You could get him out in the open space, let him eat.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to use him as a running back or something, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens got creative and thought like that, because it's a different regime in house right now.
Right.
So I think with this Justin Bethel signing, you gotta get I don't think. Of course, I think Cyrus Jones, which you could use him as like a Dexter McCluster type guy. And I know that sounds like everybody's like, Dexter McCluster. Like, when was the last time we heard from him? Right.
I like that though.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Get him out in the open space, let him eat. But I mean, that's just what I would do with him, because I've seen Cyrus play since the Stone Ages.
Yeah, I say, he's a hometown kid. Let him, give him an opportunity to make plays in front of his hometown stadium. I like that though. I really do like that. I never actually even thought about it that way. But let's get to the second biggest signing.
Mark Ingram,
another Heisman Trophy winners in the house.
You got three Heisman Trophy winners on one team,
and another Alabama player. Well, I mean, CJ's gone, but so we replace CJ with Mark Ingram. Keep those Alabama kids coming in here. I loved Mark Ingram in college. I loved Mark Ingram when he was with New Orleans. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with him. Can they get a good line behind Mark Ingram and Gus Johnson and the rest of the running backs? And also what that tells me is the Ravens are planning to run down the throats of every single team that they face. Obviously, nothing but power backs in that backfield between, like I said, Mark Ingram and and Gus Edwards.
I mean, like, I personally think that they're going to add, I think with the addition of Mark Ingram, what they're telling me is this. They think that Mark Ingram, which I totally wholeheartedly agree with this too. Mark Ingram's a way better running back than Kenneth Dixon. That's just a fact.
Oh yeah, facts.
And he does everything.
Major facts.
He's Kenneth Dixon, but like 20 times better.
Major facts.
So what I think they're going to do is now, whether people agree with me or not, it doesn't really matter because I'm going to say it, whatever. I don't care. But the real thing is that they're going to draft another running back. That's what I think this is, because I think they want to replace Kenneth Dixon and grab a running back that you get out in the open space that does something completely different.
What round?
3rd or 4th.
Okay, because if you would have said first,
no. If they get Josh Jacobs, I'd slam my head into a wall because I'm like, what are you doing?
I was gonna say
it doesn't make any sense.
I don't know the way you were lining that up. Like,
no, you get Darrell Henderson in the 3rd round. If Darrell Henderson lasts to the 3rd round, you grab that man.
Kyle is definitely on a Darrell Henderson bandwagon.
Yes, I've seen him play. I've seen dude play.
He is standing Darrell Henderson.
I wouldn't say it's standing. I've seen enough of his tape that I'm like, yes, that dude is the kind of guy that Lamar Jackson. He's a Chris Johnson type. If you get imagine having Chris Johnson with Michael Vick. Just think about that.
CJ2K. Yeah, that's actually really dirty.
Just think about that.
Really, really
and maybe
dirty.
and this what the wildest part about this is that Lamar Jackson's more agile than Michael Vick was. I wouldn't say, I don't know if he's as fast as Michael Vick was. He might be. Who knows? But
dude is a blur. Like, it's so crazy.
But
when you see him on TV versus like when you go to the stadium and like see him like do his thing, it's insane. Like, I remember I said it a couple times on the podcast. Like, when I went to go watch him, I went to that first game against the Bengals, and like the first time he took off a run, I was like, there is no way a dude is that fast at the quarterback position. Like, I've never seen anything like it before in my life. It was crazy. But so you think that they're gonna get a Speedy back in the later rounds to pair him off with Mark Ingram and Gus Edwards? Do you think Kenneth Dixon gets let go?
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, I think he's cut. If they can replace him with someone better and younger. Not that he's old at all, because Kenneth Dixon
really isn't.
Kenneth Dixon's like my age, so I mean, dude's young still.
I just feel super bad because he
got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt,
and then he almost got suspended again. People don't know about that. I mean, I just don't think he. You want me to tell you something? Like John Harbaugh during the season after Kenneth Dixon got hurt, John Harbaugh, we asked him, what's gonna happen with Kenneth Dixon when he comes back? They were like, we don't know what his status is. That's what John Harbaugh said. Said we don't know what his status is. You can look this up too. I don't have the soundbite with me right now, or else I'd play it. But John Harbaugh said we don't know what his status is. That's concerning to me.
Very concerning.
And I mean, yeah, he did come back and play well, but they don't trust him.
Right.
If they can't trust you, and they can find a guy younger than you and cheaper than you,
and a running back is a dime a dozen. Mm-hmm. Goodness gracious!
Look at Gus Edwards.
Positions to replace in the league.
Look at Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards was an undrafted rookie.
Mm-hmm.
Found him. He's way better than Kenneth Dixon.
All that dude is just runs for positive yards.
He runs people over for positive yards.
It's insane.
And now you get Mark Ingram, who you signed to a 3-year, $15 million deal, give him $5 million a year. Not a lot, but reasonable for a good running back.
Yeah.
So guess what? Ravens did the right thing, in my opinion.
Is Mark Ingram 30?
He's about 29.
Okay.
Exactly. So I mean,
the 3-year deal is actually really smart.
Yeah, that's not bad. I think it's a smart deal.
Yeah, he'll be 32 by the time.
Very,
very smart.
And I think Mark Ingram's the kind of guy that doesn't have that wear and tear that most, running backs of his age do.
And that actually helps because he was splitting time with Alvin Kamara.
Exactly. So I don't think you have the same issues that you would have. And I think the Ravens took that into account when they signed Mark Ingram.
Or I wonder if it's because they saw him run Well, and they didn't really run wild against the Ravens when they played them.
I mean, they played well though.
They ate. Both of them ate in that game, but I mean, it's not like they ran up and down the field.
Yeah, they played solidly. I mean, I'm not gonna throw them on the bus,
Right.
but we'll see.
Yeah.
Like, I think personally, Mark Ingram's gonna be a really good pass blocker. That pass pro and chip out into the open field, I feel like the Ravens are gonna do pretty solidly on that. I think, with the amount that they gave him, it's not as bad as what I initially thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be $8 million a year. We heard that. We heard $7 million. I'm like, but
Yeah,
$5 million.
That's not bad at all.
$5 million is not bad at all. That's understandable. Now with the biggest signing.
Okay, so back to when we said that we didn't know where the leadership in the locker room was going to come from. We just found the leadership. We have
Earl Thomas.
Earl Thomas, the leader of the Legion of Boom, is now a Baltimore Raven. And the funniest thing
was he the leader?
He was one of them.
I feel like they were all like. I feel like Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, and Richard Sherman were all leaders. They were all three the leaders, and then they had like some fourth guy that was like a member of the band that kept rotating.
Right. It really felt like though. So first of all, this just came like out of left field. I really didn't think Earl Thomas was coming here.
I thought he was going to the Browns, honestly.
I thought he was going to Dallas because I mean, it's just been like I know that he had like talked to Jerry Jones about wanting to come to Dallas, and out of nowhere, I like look on my phone and it's like Earl Thomas signs with the Baltimore Ravens. I was like, huh?
Okay.
For real? I mean, I ain't mad at it, but and then I have a friend that's a diehard Cowboys fan. Shout out to my man Schmidt, who sent me a text.
Are you talking about Schmidt from what show is that? New Girl. Yeah.
He looks and acts like Schmidt from New Girl.
That's creepy.
It's so funny. And then like to top it off, they're both Jewish.
You can't make that joke on here. Now we gotta delete that. I'm just messing with you. We don't have to delete that.
No, it's nothing rude or anything like that.
I mean, now we gotta, but let's get back.
So anyway,
you're getting off track.
I'm not getting off track. I'm just telling you. You said Schmidt. I'm telling you that they both they look and act the same. Right? Yes. So he sends me a text message. He goes, "You guys freaking got Earl Thomas. I can't believe you." Like, da da da. And this is the PG version of what he sent me. He pretty much cursed me out because Earl Thomas came to the Ravens. Like I had something to do with it, and I was just like, "Bruh, I don't know what to tell you." And I just laughed. And I was like, I honestly, in my heart of hearts, thought that he was going to Dallas. I thought that was like locked. I didn't even think of Earl Thomas coming to Baltimore, but that's where that leadership is going to come from. He's definitely going to lead that secondary. It's a faster, harder hitting version of Eric Weddle.
Oh, way more so. I feel like Earl Thomas is a huge upgrade over Eric Weddle just because he can still play that center field kind of defense that Eric Weddle couldn't play. So now you got a guy who's going to increase the ability of this Ravens defense. I'm not upset with it. If I'm the Ravens, I think that is a smart move. They couldn't. I think that, when you get Earl Thomas, he had a couple freak injuries. Let's get that through everybody's head. Everybody's like, oh, well, he broke his leg. Freak injury.
Yeah.
He's not brittle, He's playing safety at a high impact rate, And I think now because he knows that he's done that in the past, he's not going to go slamming his leg into anybody else again. And then not only that, but how many games did he play? 4 games. He had 3 picks.
Yeah.
4 games and 3 interceptions. Who on the Ravens could do that right now? Besides Earl Thomas.
Yeah, I was going to say no one.
Nah, one person.
Not one person.
Not one person. So when you add Earl Thomas to a defense, a secondary, not even a whole defense, because Michael Pierce is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Williams is still there, like we said. Tony Jefferson does not have to play center field. That's the biggest thing. Tony Jefferson can roam free in the front seven if he wants to. He could be a box safety. You know, that's all you got to do. You let Tony Jefferson play his game. You let Anthony Levine play his game when he's in.
Yeah.
You know, now they got some versatility on the defense. They can kind of do what they want to do.
That defense actually looks scary.
It's fast.
The secondary looks scary. I'm kind of
Kenny Young's playing middle linebacker now.
I was
He's
gonna
fast.
say, yeah, between him, Peanut. I'm guessing it's gonna be Peanut. The linebacking core is gonna be Tyus Bowser, Judon, Peanut, Kenny Young, and then that secondary is gonna be
I think Bowser and Tim Williams will probably rotate a lot.
yeah. That secondary is gonna be
Jimmy Smith. Tavon's going to be the slot guy, and then Marlon Humphrey's going to be the other corner.
And
then you got on the back end, you got Earl Thomas and obviously Tony Jefferson. So
that's actually a pretty solid secondary.
Pretty damn scary, honestly. You know,
a lot younger, a lot faster, and it's just going to be up to the defensive coordinator to get everyone.
I mean, it's Wink Martindale.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Wink.
Wink's gonna throw the heat at them, and so I'm not. I mean, if you're a Ravens fan, you can't be too concerned with what they've got right now. I think that they've got a lot on defense. Now the real issue is how to figure out how that offense is gonna work. I mean, I think the Mark Ingram sign is really smart, but you still got to fill holes at guard.
Mm-hmm.
You still at left guard, that is, at center as well. We still don't know if TJ Lang's gonna retire. If he does, can't bring him in, obviously. If he doesn't, go ahead and sign him.
Right.
You know, bring him in as a guy that's going to kind of ease the pain of.
I know TJ Lang is a guy that you and Eric have really been pushing to come to Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, some of the things he did with the Packers and the Lions, I mean, he proved that he could be a good player when healthy. Mm-hmm. Now, if he's not healthy, you know, draft another guy behind him. Draft a young guy behind him. Let him play and learn behind TJ Lang. Mm-hmm. Let him play and learn. And maybe even you might slide one of the other guys. Maybe you slide Greg Senat in the guard and let him play guard when he comes back. But, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. And then when it comes to receiver, you know, they're going to draft a receiver. That's a given.
Yeah, I don't think
no doubt in my mind. They're not going to trade for a receiver. They're not going to sign a free agent receiver.
I think it's all signs are pointing towards a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah, they like at this point, it's not gonna surprise me one bit if they draft a receiver in the first round. Now the question is, what kind of receiver will they get in the first round? Now, I'm looking at what a lot of people are saying. I'm looking at Hakeem Butler. He's probably a guy that they look at. AJ Brown, another guy that they look at.
AJ Brown has been late.
Everybody's been fiending. Like, all these Ravens fans are fiending over DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf can't cut in and out of breaks. He looks like
those muscles, man.
Yeah, I mean, he runs like that. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain how dude runs. I just know he runs weird. Yeah, and
it's all those muscles, man.
I mean, yeah, but you know, it's odd, dude. Like, I just don't understand how everybody's eating. So,
how everyone's on DK Metcalf? It's because that guy's freaking huge. I mean, that's the boss. That's the boss level. That's the guy you look at the boss level.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. They look at DK Metcalf, and they're probably like, okay, dude's gigantic, whatever. But now,
I mean, he was actually really productive at Ole Miss too. Let's just not knock him off.
But he wasn't AJ Brown productive.
Yeah, no, he was not the number one guy at Ole Miss. All right. So before we continue, it's time to tell you about DMVSN's Library Podcast. Right now, we have 9 active shows, including High Heat, High Street, team shows for Redskins, Capitals, Nationals, Wizards, and Ravens, Fantasy Fever dealing with all things fantasy football, a pair of mixed bag shows from It's About Time DC and Dominant Thunder, and a debate show, DMV Dispute, which is available via live stream on Twitter. All of these shows are available wherever podcasts can be found, so please check these out. And if you like any of these shows, please leave a review or even subscribe on all platforms, including Spotify, baby. All right, so this is one thing I want to talk about. So we were like doing backflips when we found out that not only Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown are out of the division. Like, just super ecstatic. I was like, oh, they're gone. Le'Veon Bell's going to New York. We thought he was going to come to Baltimore, but it's whatever. We got Mark Ingram. And then Antonio Brown got traded to the Raiders, which the Raiders got a steal for him. Goodness gracious. But then these freaking Cleveland Browns thinking they trying to make all these moves and get Odell Beckham Jr.
Oh my God.
Yo, I was hurt, son. I was hurt because I was like, oh man, Antonio's gone, Le'Veon's gone. This is gonna be the
Oh my God.
This is gonna be the Ravens
Oh
division.
my God.
Can I finish what I was about to say? All right, so Odell Beckham's in the AFC North, and it's gonna be a problem now. But I mean, we saw what he did the last time he played the Ravens, and that's with Eli Manning as his quarterback. And Baker Mayfield is definitely at this stage is better than Eli Manning. So it's just, oh my goodness gracious. My homeboy Jared is a diehard Giants fan, and I know he's hurting. Cue the line for Friday. He gonna cry in the car.
So gonna cry in the car.
He gonna cry in the car. Man, but what are your thoughts about Odell Beckham coming into the AFC North?
Well,
Kyle gonna cry in the car too.
I mean, well, the Ravens actually have a perfect secondary to kind of match up with Odell Beckham.
Not the last time they played.
Well, I mean, I think that you also got to remember everybody was out that time. So I don't feel like necessarily that it's one of those situations where people need to I mean, personally, I wouldn't be that pressed over it. Just considering that the Ravens have boosted their secondary, this is something that, on the back end, they've had problems with for a very long time. So, with that being said, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a good move, obviously, for the Browns, but I also feel like the Ravens now with Earl Thomas, it's going to be a better matchup than it probably would have been if they didn't get Earl Thomas, that they were just like, all right, let's get a rookie free safety.
So now, remember when a couple episodes ago when I said that I think that the rivalry in the AFC North is going to shift from the Ravens Steelers to the Ravens Browns? Do I look as off as I do now?
Nah, I don't think so.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly.
Called it. It's going to be Ravens Browns in the AFC North. That's the new rivalry. I mean, I'll always and forever hate Pittsburgh, but as far as like competing for the AFC North, it's gonna be between the Ravens and the Browns, which is the weirdest thing ever to say.
Doesn't that just trip you up though?
Also,
and then the Steelers have gone in the they're free.
They in the sunken place.
'Cause I'm free. Sing it with me. Free falling. They are, man. I don't know what's going on with the Steelers, bro. I honestly don't. I mean, then not only did Antonio Brown jump on Ben Roethlisberger's case, but Le'Veon Bell also said that part of the reason why he left the Steelers is because of Big Ben.
I mean, Big Ben is toxic, man.
Cause you know that I'm toxic. No.
I'm so sorry for everyone that's listening to this man sing right
now. Oh my God, get out of here, please. we gotta make for
We're having fun here.
Britney Spears. You can't tell me Toxic wasn't a banger back in the day. You're old enough to remember that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember. I'm also old enough.
You were practically in the club when that happened. When that song came out, you were practically in the club by then. You old man. No,
look, I don't appreciate you age shaming me right now.
I'm about to age shame you all the time, Mister. I'm about to turn 30 years old, Mister. I was born in the 80s.
89, baby.
Oh my goodness, you old man. What an old man
Whatever.
Old man, the man's trying to keep me down. That's the old man over here.
Whatever. Also, that song was not a banger. Song wasn't a banger. I'm not here for Britney Spears Toxic. Anyway, back to Odell Beckham coming into the AFC North. Back to Cleveland Browns and Baltimore Ravens now being the new rivalry in the AFC North. It's just a thing. It's just gonna happen. Everyone's gonna have to deal with it. We can all hate the Steelers and laugh in their misery, but
yeah, you guys can be doing that because who knows down the line what could possibly happen with me,
Pittsburgh guy. Are you jumping ship?
No, I'm not jumping ship. I'm not saying. Why would I ever be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan?
You said I don't know what can happen.
Who knows? I might be covering the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can't talk too much crap about them. I could talk crap about Big Ben because by the time I would get over there, Big Ben would be gone.
We're not going to put that energy out there. You can cover any team in the NFL. You can't cover the Steelers
or the Patriots.
Can't cover them. And you can't cover the Browns either because that's our new rivalry. Yeah, so
I don't care about the Browns.
Yeah, bump Cleveland. All right. So in the spirit of March, since we are recording this during March Madness, actually, we're watching the tournament as we're recording the show. Who you got in your Final Four?
All right, let's look at my tournament bracket. I know that I'm sorry, guys, for not joining the tournament bracket at DMV Sports Network because I am a heathen.
You know who did join the DMV Essence bracket, though? This guy. Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay. Nobody's trying to hear all that.
I'm just trying to butter up the DMV.
I'm trying to butter. I'm just trying.
Who you have in your Final Four?
All right, I'm looking for it, man. Let me look for it.
All right, while he's looking, I know who I have in mind.
Sheesh. I'm 17th in my bracket. My God.
This guy. All right, so I have two brackets with more than two brackets, but they have two different Final Fours. So in one of them, Kyle's gonna laugh at me so hard. One of them, I have Duke, Michigan, North Carolina, and you know who the last one is? It's Oregon, baby. Go Ducks.
Okay.
Kyle has a straight face. He didn't laugh at that one. But yes,
that was
Oregon is in one of my Final Four, and then I think the other one I had UVA.
I'm trying to look for it. How do you look for it?
You gotta swipe.
You gotta swipe for Final Four.
I'm the old man. At least I know how to do it.
I mean, I'm looking for it.
Go to your bracket. There you go. Yeah, see?
Oh, don't tease me.
See?
You jerk, what?
All right, so yeah, I did. So the other one I had Duke, Michigan, UVA, and North Carolina.
How do you know if it doesn't show you right there?
Those are the picks that you made.
Oh, okay, Duke, Michigan, Tennessee, North Carolina.
I'm the old one, though.
Did you have that?
No, I had Duke, Michigan, Oregon, and North Carolina.
Oregon.
And then I had Duke, Michigan, Virginia, and North Carolina.
This man really picked Virginia to go to the Final Four. Swirl. No. You don't get the mic back for the rest of the show.
They're going to be motivated after losing to UMBC last year.
You don't get the mic back for the rest of the show.
They're motivated after losing to UMBC last year.
I'm not giving you the mic back. And, man, Florida is whooping on Nevada right now.
It's a 48-point lead.
To 33. My God.
I picked that. I picked Florida to win.
I mean, I picked Florida to win, too. What is up with this one dude's haircut? Look at this dude. Like, what's going on with this?
This turned into a Ravens podcast to
Look at
to
this
an
man's
NCAA
hair.
tournament roasting session.
We're about to fry him up, boy. Like, what are you doing?
Speaking of roasting sessions, can we please roast that day in the life of a student athlete commercial?
Oh yeah, I'll let you go off on that. This is all you, buddy.
All right. So for those of you who don't know, this is still a Ravens podcast, but it's March Madness. So we're gonna talk about March Madness. The NCAA released a little 30, 40-second commercial clip saying a day in the life of a student athlete and got flamed on Twitter by current and former student athletes. And some of them are pros, some of them are not, and some of them are just like people who played all kinds of sports. We're not talking about basketball players. We're not talking about football players. I'm talking about lacrosse players came for this commercial. Volleyball players came for this commercial.
Shot putters came for this commercial.
I mean, yeah, track and field. And I mean, as someone who has gone to 2 different Division I schools, and obviously
a flex, Armstrong.
it's a flex.
You know,
it's a flex. I mean, they were both
flex.
Division I AA schools, but yeah, you know, shout out to I'm only shouting out one. Shout out to Towson, who also made the women's NCAA tournament. Too bad y'all got UConn, but still. Anywho, so shout out to Towson, the ladies, for making the tournament. Yeah, so someone who went to Towson and another Division I AA school who will not be named on this podcast. I have friends who were Division I athletes. Some of them went to go on to be pros. Some of them, most of them didn't. I've talked to some of them and I asked them about the commercial, and they're like, I can't believe this commercial. This is ridiculous. And just the audacity of the NCAA to pretend that like student athletes aren't working almost 24 hours. You know, I mean, they barely have any time to themselves. They barely have any time to eat. And the thing that really stuck out to me the most about like a day in the life of a student athlete is just like when it comes down to picking majors. Now, this is per school, so you can't say every school is like this, but it really stuck out to me the one time when I saw Arian Foster was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about.
Was he smoking a blunt on Joe Rogan's podcast?
No, he was not smoking a blunt.
Surprisingly. Was he talking about how he's atheist on Joe Rogan's podcast?
No, no.
Was he talking about how religious people are the scum of the universe on Joe Rogan's podcast?
No, only Joe Rogan says stuff like that.
No, but Arian Foster would say something like this too, right?
I mean, that's not what they were talking about. They were talking about like.
He was talking about wow.
No, shut up. He was talking about how he went to Tennessee and he wanted to major in I think like aerospace, something had to do something like aerospace or like something of that nature. And the admissions office told him that because of him playing football, he couldn't major in that program because the classes wouldn't meet would conflict with him having practice and whatnot. And I'm thinking, if a guy wants to go to college to do something and he's using his tool of football to get him there, he's agreed to play football, you agreed to give him the education, but you won't allow him to get the education in the field that he wants to get an education in.
Yeah, I don't get that one.
That really like scratches my head. And also, while we're at it, let's talk about everyone in this tournament missing class, missing assignments, missing projects,
yeah,
missing exams.
Spicy. Talk mad spicy.
Mad spicy. And then let's also talk about how much money is being made off of this tournament. And it's
hella bands.
It's gonna go to the players in the scholarship. Oh my goodness. The scholarship. The scholarship. Miss me with that one, Chief. These kids need to be paid. Hot take.
I mean, I think they need. That's not even a hot take. When Kane Coulter from Northwestern on a football team tried to unionize and stuff, I think that would have been smart. Like,
well, they wouldn't let them.
That was BS that they didn't let those kids unionize. They practically work a full-time job.
They do.
You know?
There's no practically, they do.
And when I was throwing shot put, yeah, that wasn't as hard as like some of the stuff that the football players and basketball players were doing.
I had a friend that ran track for for Towson, and like she sent me her schedule, and I was just like, how do you have time to be like you?
Work out. Okay. Eat. Okay. But you only can eat what we want you to eat. That was the one thing. And it wasn't like that with track and field. In track and field, they were like, all right, okay, fatty, go ahead, eat what you want. You throw shot put.
It's just
I didn't care. I ate whatever I wanted to.
it's just a travesty, you know. I mean, as much as we do.
My coaches were cool though. I rock with my coaches, but
we do love things like March Madness because it brings us closer to our schools and it has that sense of school pride. But at the same time, it'd be really nice to see like these athletes of all sports get some kind of compensation. And I'm not saying make it an open market compensation because the little schools would just get absolutely beat out by every single big school. But I mean, I know people are gonna say, well, they get a stipend, and you just honestly, if for those of you who are still in school and go to any division, doesn't matter, go to a student athlete, ask them to send you a copy of their schedule and see if you can do it day to day. And I guarantee you by the first day you'll be like, no, pineapples. I don't want to do it. Can't do it. Can't do it. And Florida is putting a hurting on Nevada right now.
But yeah, we got one last topic for the show. And that last topic is Johnny Football joining
the
Memphis Express. I'm excited to see this because I know it's going to crash and burn. It's going to be crazy. Johnny Manziel ain't saving that team, first of all. That O-line is...
He honestly couldn't have picked a worse week for, I'm
not going to throw the O-line under the bus.
Could not have picked a worse week for him to debut. He's had some stiff competition with March Madness. You ain't beating that in the ratings.
Whew, of course not. Well, first of all, he ain't beating March Madness.
Nope.
He ain't beating me going to the club on Saturday. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to the club on Saturday. Who would I be to go to the club on Saturday?
I was going to say, can I get an invite? But I got to go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. You can't. I'm not going to any club on Saturday. I'm sitting my butt right at home, saving money.
Watching the games.
Of course I'm watching the game. I'm watching the game Saturday, Sunday.
Only games I care about are Friday.
Yeah, well,
Friday and Sunday. Friday.
Look at.
When Oregon plays at 4:30.
Let's just talk about Johnny Football for a second.
Yeah, real talk.
This dude has gotten chance after chance after chance after chance. How many times do we need to keep giving this dude chances before we realize? And I understand he's 26 years old, but my biggest thing is like, if I'm not given that opportunity to mess up that many times at 25,
right?
And I'm a year and a half younger than him. Why is he given that many opportunities to succeed? And I'm not talking about it from just a football standpoint, like the talent standpoint. He's shown that he has no talent in the CFL. He hasn't done anything in the CFL. He flamed out of the NFL because the dude could not stop drinking, couldn't stop doing drugs, couldn't stop partying, and everybody's sitting up here giving him chance after chance. He's a rich kid. He's a spoiled rich brat who does whatever he wants to do.
Woo!
And I know that might come off as like angry or whatever, but it's a fact. Johnny Manziel with that stupid money sign that he always does. I used to love Johnny Manziel, by the way. So this is coming from a person that used to be a huge fan of the dude. I just think that the guy's a turd. He's a turd. He's a turd. Like, let's just be real. He has not grown up at all since he was, a redshirt freshman at Texas A&M.
I think that
turd.
Are you done? Are you finished or are you done?
Go ahead.
Okay. I think that I don't know, I'm really nervous. You're just gonna yell turd in the middle of my thing. I think that Johnny going to the Memphis Express. Well, first of all, it's telling because San Antonio originally owned his rights, and they were like, "Yeah, nah, Chief, we're good over here." He's on a waiver wire. So this is his third professional football league. Okay, that's insane. 3 professional football leagues. There aren't guys that play for 3 professional teams before they're done playing professional football or any kind of professional sport. So the guy got to go to 3 different leagues. He had a drug and party problem in college. Let's not forget the time that he went to UT, which is a rival of Texas A&M. And I don't know about you, but I don't care who I am. I'm not partying at my rival school. When I went to Towson, I didn't go to Delaware and go for a party. Like, no.
Shoot, I was definitely at Stevenson. Turn up, turn up, turn up. It's like I'm joking. Stevenson wasn't even a rival school, by the way. I'm just making fun of.
And Towson and Delaware aren't massive rivals. Like Texas and Texas A&M hate
If I went
each
to
other.
Cal, I wouldn't be at Stanford partying.
Exactly. And if I went to Oregon, I wouldn't have gone to Oregon State. But
That's in-state. That's blood. That's blood rage rivalries. That's
right.
not regular rivalries. Like,
Right. So the sheer fact that Johnny had the galls to go up
galls.
to the galls,
I like how you mix those two together. That was great.
the testicular fortitude to go to
Because he's rich.
to go to Austin, Texas, and then go to the University of Texas, and then to go to a frat house, and then to disrespect the fraternity at the frat house, which is like, oh, like I don't know who you think you are. And the fact, I mean, I don't know all the details that happened from him, but I know the massive thing is that he went to a frat party at Texas and then disrespected the fraternity at their house. And that is crazy. Like that, I mean, the fact that he made it out there alive, just says something. But he had the problem at A&M. Then he goes to the Browns. And you think, all right, he's in the same city, and LeBron was there at the same time, so maybe LeBron can mentor him, like, yo, like, this is how we're going to do things in Cleveland. Like, this is what I need you to do, yada, yada. But, Manziel had a party problem. Like, he was out there partying with anyone and everyone, and the dude hadn't even thrown a ball yet in the NFL. But because he got drafted and was, like, playing for Cleveland, um, I lost my train of thought. Just a big problem. It was problematic. It was very problematic. And then he goes to the CFL, and a lot of people say that he chose to not abide by the rules that were set by the CFL just so he can come back to US to play football. And he wasn't really doing well. And the CFL does have a lot of different rules, and I'll give him that. It's a lot of things that are different. I think they play with 12 people on the field.
I don't even know. I mean, honestly, I'm not the CFL.
I don't watch
I'm not the
CFL
CFL guru around here, but
But I know there are massive rule changes, and maybe he wasn't really accustomed to it, and it didn't really suit him. And so now he's gonna go play for
the Memphis Express.
Memphis Express, and their head coach is not having any of it.
That'll about do it for us here with Mobtown Blitz. You can follow us on Twitter at Mobtown Pod. You can follow Anthony on Twitter at AYEEBARKLEY. And you could, of course, follow me at Kyle J. Andrews _ that obviously shouldn't be too hard to find out. And then you could look at us or listen to us on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, whatever. It's always like that. It's always good in the hood. And, it is what it is. But with that being said, this is Mobtown Blitz. We're signing off for the week. Sorry Eric couldn't show up, but, he's enjoying life. So we'll see you guys next week.